keep that round of applause going for the writing director, Bob Byington, co-stars with Offerman, and your guest moderator, Chris Pratt. Okay. All right. Well, here you go.
Thank you. Gosh, thanks for staying, all of you that stayed this long. That's very generous. Let's sit up here. Okay. That way it'll resound if I cut one.
I'll just pretend to be Bob.
Oh, great. Bob is in the house. He's going to let us get things warmed up for him before he takes the stage.
I've been asked by Nick and given the honor to be the moderator this evening for this Q&A. I think we've got 20 minutes.
Something like that.
Or so. First of all, thank you to you and to you, Fake Bob, for a delightful film. I have a lot of questions. This is the second time I've seen it. I guess I'll just get right into it. Tell me, your role was producer. This is your first foray into producing?
It is.
Go on about that. How do you think producing is it harder or easier than acting?
It's the thing that sucks about producing is they want you to pay attention to the whole fucking thing, which I was not aware of when I accepted the gig. I don't aspire to produce or direct, but I recently got to direct on our show, and in both cases, it's because the administration asked me to collaborate in a larger way, and so while I never wanted to be a director, don't particularly still, I said, yes, you want me to come play more with everybody? Absolutely. And my friend Bob, we've been working together for about 15 years, and I'm such a huge fan of his writing, and we get along by and large, and we like to eat barbecue together. And so he told me he wrote this part for me, and he wrote the lead for Keith. Keith has also been around for a few films. And he said, and would you come produce it? And I love... his crews are always like no more than 20, 24 people. And that reminds me of my theater company in Chicago where everybody's in the same room making the art. It's not 150 people where you feel a little more like a prop that's being polished and placed on set. So I was overjoyed to get to show up and have something to do with every frame of the movie. We have another producer, a second producer named Hans Graffunder, who comes from The Sopranos.
That's not a real name.
We say the Graffunder rolls. On the last 5 seasons of a television program called The Sopranos, which was on HBO before you guys got out of junior high school, he was their post supervisor, and now he produces for this up-and-comer named Terrence Malick. And he got a hold of the script and got a hold of Bob and said, can I please produce your movie? And that's really how the movie happened, because this guy is on top of everything. He ran the office. He knew all the paperwork to do. I didn't have to do any paperwork. I ran the set. I made sure that everyone had water to drink, is basically how I produced the movie.
I'm gonna ask you producer questions now. What was the budget of the film?
I think we ended up, all things considered, in the mid 6 figures.
Oh, that's good. Okay. And what was the medium on which you shot the film?
That's a very good question. We can ask Bob that when it comes.
I was going to ask Bob that.
It's the
medium
video. It's the medium of digital.
I've heard of that.
I think it was the Sony Panasonic KX2005.
That's a good camera.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask, I mean, I don't know if this is a better question for Bob or for you. I'll just keep doing producer questions. You guys shot in Austin?
Yeah.
Is that right? Anyone here from Austin?
Austin and the surrounding environs. We shot a couple things in Smithville. This is a fun fact. The house where Keith brings the flowers early on and the cat takes a swipe at him was the house that Brad Pitt stayed in while he was shooting across the street, was the Tree of Life house. So I shat where that beautiful motherfucker shat.
Nice. If you had to say one of those two people shitting left a smell behind, who would you say?
Brad or
you?
Oh, Brad.
Good answer. All right, I'm not texting or tweeting. I'm looking at the questions I prepared, which I put them on my phone. Well, this is a Bob question.
Ooh, yes.
That's a Bob question. Yeah. How many days did you shoot?
24 days, 4 6-day weeks. And they were long, hard days. It was, without hyperbole, about 110 degrees most of the days. And there was a lot of exterior shooting. We had a very kick-ass, tough crew. This scrappy guy named George was almost our entire art department. He had one amazing assistant, and they built so much stuff. They built that pizza and ice cream sign from scratch.
Wow.
He ordered like those little discs, those reflective discs, and put that all together. It's pretty amazing.
That's cool.
Thank you. On behalf of George.
Well, I'm gonna get into some Bob questions to you, Nick, because
Let's bring Bob down.
Oh, can we?
Let's have a round of applause for Bob Byington. He wrote it, and he directed it. He came in all the way in from Austin just for this, you guys.
One more big round of applause. Let's talk about the magic of the briefcase and the book ending with the briefcase and how that.
Is it a briefcase?
Or not a briefcase, but you know that blue thing. The suitcase.
It's a suitcase. My friend who told me that Mexican suitcase falling apart like a Mexican suitcase, he said that he originally said the joke was Mexican briefcase, and that I changed it to Mexican suitcase.
Now we've come full circle.
Yeah, Nick has some ideas about that, and it's a pity that you would save that question for me, because Nick is delightful on that subject.
Well, the people often ask, the sort of obvious, the question that the filmmakers would hope the audience would ask themselves is, what's in a suitcase? What's the poetry of the movie? It's worth noting that something we cut at the last second was at the end of the credits, a sort of epilogue that said 40 years earlier, and it had my character Sal jerking off into the suitcase. It could denote either my homunculus or just my sparkly spunk.
So it's something you kind of want. You prefer an audience to make up their own mind about
Yeah,
what's
I
in
mean,
the suitcase?
you have an idea of what do you think's in there?
I don't know. I felt like, and this will get into the next question, which is the age makeup that didn't seem to and hit everyone else. Everyone else was aged except for the guy. So I'm assuming that maybe by looking into the suitcase, you get a glimpse into your own future, perhaps, or you see the world age around you, but you don't. That was actually an observation made by my intelligent cousin here. I couldn't come up with this. Yeah, Kurt came up with that. I was like, I don't get the suitcase. That was one idea.
I came up with a good one in Chicago, Bob, which was to sort of on that subject, that I feel like the magic of the suitcase, what you're referring to, represents the sort of disaffected teenager in all of us. modern Americans, and that's what I think Max represents for me going through the film, is that even though we age and we go through these experiences, our lives are so soft and easy that we remain a sort of shitty teenager, never really paying enough attention to the things we should be.
Yeah, also you can get to your 40s and not know that you're not 25, which is something that's happened to me. And the movie in some ways is about not knowing that I'm not 25. Which, how would you know? Because you're like very young.
Yeah, 17. I'm a big 17-year-old. Now, there seem to be a few comments in there. Let me, and I'm going to open it up to the audience to ask a few questions as well. But one question I would ask if I was sitting in the audience and someone asked the audience if you could ask a question, I would ask about when he's in the ambulance and that there's that video on repeat. Now, there's a time frame. I think I counted maybe 6 5-year jump cuts. So is that right?
Is that right?
So the movie spans over the course of 30 years, and
With one flashback.
well, right, okay, with one flashback, right? And did you see that going into the future? Because he was driving like a little smart car that looked like it had a button panel on the side. I don't know if that's what it already looks like, those cars. But and also the ambulance has the thing and he said something about that healthcare bit was really funny about like insurance. And if you don't have it, that's fine. What do we look like? What was the voice of the writer? What were you thinking when you wrote that?
The ambulance bit? Yeah, it was meant to be a sort of a lightly,
Seems to be okay.
It's sort of supposed to be like the future where never done this. I've seen it. It's kind of the future. I don't know what else to say. I did imagine that bit in the ambulance where the doctor was saying the thing, and it's like the cars, and there's some other stuff that's like mildly futuristic that, I went about as far as I could with it. We didn't have $20 million to like build the future. We had mid-6 figures. I think it's pulled off on some level, but if you look too closely, at the seams.
It was really fun shooting in the scene where Max has the heart attack with the breadsticks in the graveyard. I think we had 6 zip cars. Are they called zip cars? Smart cars. But what's the business in Austin? It's one of those things where you can check out a car.
Zip car.
Oh, zip car.
They're not called zip cars. They're called Car2Go.
Car2Go.
Are we here to plug Car2Go? Because you don't have that here in LA.
It's called Car2Go. And we made a little deal with them. And we had, I think, 5 or 6 of them. And like the one guy would like clack the slate and he would jump in because we didn't have enough crew. So we'd start rolling the scene and these 6 cars would just drive around in a little circle in the back of the shot, which I thought was the most hilarious feature ever. And clearly, it's far from now.
Don't shatter the illusion.
Spoiler alert.
I think I'll see if anyone out there has any questions for Bob or for Nick or for you. Oh, yeah, or for me, I guess. But I focus on them because I have anything to do. Yes, sir.
As you guys been showing the movies to us, as you guys been showing the movies, and it's great that you kept the suitcase. You figure it out. What do you believe it is? Your theories. Has anybody come up to you or they've told you their theory and you just, oh no, that's not it at all. I think it's great that you have your opinion, but that's not it. Or any other weird reactions to it?
Well, I'm dating a woman whose mother saw the movie and said that the suitcase was filled with pornography.
Did you disabuse her of that notion?
I said, mother of woman I'm dating, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful theory. And I have no place to tell you, otherwise.
In a way, I would say that's spot on. No, to answer your question, no. I mean, I've had disappointingly few people get into their description of it. Most of the people ask. That's the modern way. Instead of the point is to go away and figure it out for yourself on a long walk through the park while holding a collection of deciduous tree leaves.
Anyone else? There's a hand back there.
Shout it out, please.
I was reminded of a modern-day picture of Dorian Gray. Is that an inspiration?
Yeah, I'm not super familiar. I've read that, and I know that the idea, that myth, which you're aware of also.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, why not? You know, yeah, absolutely. That's a wonderful observation. I'm not being glib. That's definitely part of what was going on, along with like the Repo Man trunk stuff, you know that,
Right.
and the Kiss Me Deadly thing, and Pulp Fiction. You know, that all of it kind of got thrown up in the air and then came back down.
Yes, young lady in the third row.
Could you speak a little bit to the cinematography, like the choice? It seemed ethereal at times and very bright, kind of glowing, and very saturated at times.
Thank you. I'll take this one. No. I'll start, but I'll hand it off to Bob just by saying one thrilling thing about this film. The last two films he did, which I highly recommend, RSO, Registered Sex Offender, and Harmony and Me, both really a lot of fun, both shot in Austin with a lot of the same gang, were more casual filmmaking in that, if for no other reason, they didn't have a DP. And this script came in, and it had a weight to it where we were excited that then this producer became attached, Hans the Rolling Grafunder, and everything took on a little more importance, which I was very appreciative of because I'm a big fan of Bob's writing, and I thought this was his best script to date, and so I was tickled that we got this very talented director of photography named Sean Price Williams.
I had met Sean on a movie called The Color Wheel, which I don't know, did you guys play The Color Wheel here? And was really taken with his demeanor on set, and then found out he shot Frownland, which is another movie I really like. Both those movies, they're not great-looking movies. They're not. I mean, they're just kind of 16mm available light type movies. I remember I showed the producer that showed him Frownland, and they said, "Oh, we're absolutely not using Sean. We can't use him." But we fought for him, and he's the reason the movie looks good. He always knows where to put the camera. Sean does. It's kind of weird.
Yes.
Can you talk about the title a little bit? I mean, is it supposed to be like ironic? Or am I hella dumb?
From the Bay Area? Your reasoning is actually hella tight. One might posit that it's completely Indar. Sorry, guys.
The title just popped into my head. I don't know how else to say it. It just popped and then stayed as the title. And I didn't know about the other film until later. It's kind of embarrassing. There's a Paul Newman boxing movie called Somebody Up There Likes Me. A lot of people knew that, but I didn't. But you can, if you like your time, if you want to call your movie Star Wars, you can. There's no law against it.
Yes, sir?
Yeah, was there anything else about the budget that made you, or forced you, either shooting in Texas or the long days, that forced you to make some more interesting creative choices that you might not have with a larger budget?
Indeed. For the back, the question was, because it was a relatively low-budget film, did we have to make some creative choices in our work? And yes, the thing that pops to mind is the shooting of the roadside memorial. We had a really nice art department put together, a fake one in a comfortable location to shoot, but we never quite got the shot we wanted of Max's POV of sort of pulling up next to it. So later in the shoot, we had Bob and the DP on the tailgate laying on their stomachs of my truck, and we just went out and found one and we just backed up. It was next to a very busy, large road, and we backed up and forth several times until we got a shot we liked.
That sounds made up, but it's true.
Yes, sir, here.
Nick, your favorite scene to shoot and best barbecue in LA that you've had? Where at?
Question was favorite scene he shot and the best barbecue in LA that he's had.
I think my favorite scene to shoot was probably the very first customer at the pizza and ice cream. That was where it got the most playful. For a lot of the film, I always had other concerns, like because of being the producer as well, and that great performer, Alex Ross Perry is his name, and Keith, I think it was a little later, and the three of us and Bob all took it as an opportunity to get to be smartasses with each other in a way that was like blowing off a little bit of the stress of the shoot, and it was really fun.
That was nice too, because Keith and Nick by then had developed legitimate chemistry, and it's something we've been working toward through the whole shoot. It was so easy to do. Easy is the wrong word, but there was an effortlessness to it that was really gratifying. And originally Alex, who's a friend of mine who made the color wheel, had just shown up to really be an extra in the scene. And he didn't have a speaking part in the scene, but the scene just grew and grew and grew. And he really bugged you. I don't know if you remember that. Alex really bugged Nick. And so it grew out of that, actually.
I remember.
You claim to remember and not remember.
No, I remember that there was something off-putting about his vibe. Great guy. Totally a great guy. I think I was tired, is what it was. And I enjoy Zeke's barbecue very much over in the La Cañada Flint Ridge neighborhood. I think we actually have to wrap it. Let's do one more question, and I have to actually go across town and perform a couple of rap songs.
This guy here then.
Yeah, so this is actually for Nick and probably Bob too. I think we all feel like we know you now because of Parks and Rec, so there's almost like this, Ron feels like he's almost there with you a lot of the time. I was wondering if it's liberating because there's almost a currency with the audience, so like you get a bond with that, or is it kind of restricting because you feel like you're always playing kind of with Ron in the room, and then as a writer-director, do you feel like you're directing, with that kind of persona?
I'm aware of this great phenomenon, and I have enjoyed it very much because the more attention any one of us characters gets, the more attention the show gets, and that's what allowed us to stay on the air this long, which was very unlikely. So I'm really grateful. But as an actor, I'm just making it like any other job, and in the making of the show, you're not aware of that sort of impact that you're having. Even when you read about it in the newspaper, it's not a tangible sensation, and so it's weird. It's something that I find interesting when people bring it up, because for me it's just it's the role I've gotten to play the longest. But going to do this, or I'm doing a play right now with my wife where it's every new part is really delicious and refreshing. But I know that a lot of the audience, will hold that up to the character that's in their living room every Thursday night, and I hope that they'll hold it up gently in comparison.
So everybody, give a big round of applause. Let's hear it for Chris Pratt. And let's open the patio. You can come on out back, but you'll have to go out through the alley. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening. We got to clear the house quickly so the next crowd can get in. So thanks a lot.